Welcome to the Galaxy Man Show for a nice Thursday night. So, for my very first guest of this week is this incredible artist known by the name of Alicia Liz. I'm about to add Alicia into the live now to have a chat with Alicia all the way from Melbourne, Australia. So yeah, let's add Alicia in and have a chat with Alicia.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for coming onto the show tonight on the Galaxy Man Show. For people that don't know who you are, Alicia, if you can give me like a bit of backstory about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, I've been writing and performing on and off, and I really took a really big break from music, and I really only just got back into it the last 3 years, to be honest. Um, I took a break because I raised a couple of children. I was starting a music teaching career as well, so I was really quite busy and consumed with all of that. And and I actually, I did music in high school, and I really enjoyed that. And I studied music. I was in a corporate duo for a couple of years as well in my early 20s. We did gigs for, for weddings, for pubs, New Year's Eve, Valentine's, special occasion, things like that. And then there was my little side thing with another artist that I met up with at university, and she was a bass player, I was a guitarist, and we're like, oh, what a cool duo, having two chicks playing and writing music and performing. So we did a few little gigs as well while we were studying, and had the family, was teaching, and I just went, oh, I'm doing music, for others, but not, looking after myself in that way. So and it wasn't until lockdown. I think a lot of people were like that in lockdown, that made them sort of stop and really think about what they're doing with their life. And I'm like, I really need to get back to that passion, because I still have that burning desire that I, had back in my early 20s come back again. I haven't looked back. I'm so busy, but it doesn't matter how busy I am. I like it because I love it so much. I keep doing it. Doesn't matter if I'm getting 6 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
It keeps me going. Yeah.
So we'll dive right into the questions now, Alicia. So for my very first question, so you've created incredible original songs, and for the first original song I'm going to mention is Something Wild. Like, what was it like creating this song? What's the meaning behind Something Wild?
Well, there's a little bit of a story with Something Wild. This was a song that I wrote 20 years ago, and when I was studying music, there was another group of students in another course at the same institute that were studying poetry, and one of their tasks was to put music to their poetry, or have music put to their poetry. And the teacher asked us if we were interested, and I was like, yeah, I'm interested, because I was, writing music, but I'm not really very much good at lyric writing, but I am with melody and music, no worries. So I was like, yeah, I'm keen. So went in, had a look at all this poetry, and this particular poet, I was really drawn to her poetry. It was very, like, when you read it, you could just sense that she was someone that had a lot of, very independent, a lot of strength, and that her poetry was reflective of that. And so I met up with her, actually went to her place in Eltham, and she was just really very open in sharing her poetry, and she's like, take whatever you like. I've actually still got all the original stuff that she's given me. And so there was one particular one, it wasn't Something Wild, but Something Wild came after the other release that I had done. And it started off with the 4-chord progression and some ideas, and then I created this song, Something Wild, and it wasn't until probably about 3 years ago that I revisited it with my singing teacher and at the time, and we workshopped it a bit more. So it's kind of flourished into the song now. And then obviously the recording process was all done online with a producer in London. So I'd laid down the guitar track, the vocal track, send it to him, gave him a reference track, you know, the production that I wanted. And there was just lots of back and forth with how I got Something Wild produced and mastered and released. Yeah, it's been a
So,
long journey.
so on to my very next question for you. So you've also created a song called Lola, which is another great title of a song. What was it like creating Lola, and what's the meaning behind this song?
Yeah, Lola again was the same. Again, it was New Lynch is the poet. I actually got in contact with her before recording these songs and releasing them, even though she knew I wrote the music, and it took me about 10 months to track her down. Lots of messaging people, do you know if she's still, you know, where is she? Do you know her? I need to get in contact with her. Finally got to that place, and she's like, yeah, absolutely, you have my blessing. So again, actually Lola was the first bit of poetry that I really loved, that I read of hers, and that one is basically a spiritual ode to celebrating the independence of women that stand in their own power. So essentially that's what that song is about. And I wrote that, actually, the music and the melody in one day. It just like came to me like that. So yeah, it was, you know, one of those freaky sort of, you know, things that happen. Doesn't happen often. And yeah, again, this song was produced with Danny Blackburn, who's a producer based in Leeds in London, and all done online. Laid down the tracks, vocal track, reference guides. Yeah, lots of back and forth, and just sort of adding, you know, cello. Oh, let's add, you know, backing vocals now, some harmonies, and yeah, it was lots of fun, and very different. I mean, it suited me perfectly doing it online because I'm so busy, you know, not being able to be in a studio for hours recording. So it just suited my lifestyle perfectly, and it's like amazing what you can do online.
So on to my very next question for you. So, like, what made you decide as a person, and like especially as an artist, to get into the whole singing process in the first place?
Singing, gee, I think singing's been a passion since I was really young. I remember singing in the bedroom, you know, with the lights off, and just being so just being taken away to another place. And I think that's what music is all about. It's just being taken away, you know, in that moment somewhere else. And that's what I think I love about singing.
So on to my very next question. So, like, what does performing music mean to you? Like, especially the connection wise when you're performing in front of crowds. Like, what does that mean to you?
It means it's really sharing a bit about a part of you to someone else, really. Whether or not you're singing for yourself, you're still, you know, connecting to something that you, whether it's, you know, someone else's experience, that you're connecting it with one of your experiences. And so a lot of songs that I sing, even covers, there's always something that I can connect to, that I have experienced in some way. And I think that's essentially what really comes down to, and having fun as well, enjoying it.
So, I have to ask, what would be your all-time favorite cover song?
Cover song?
Yeah.
Ooh, goodness gracious. Oh, that's a good question. You know, even just like when people ask me, what is your favorite song and what is your favorite artist? I don't have a favorite. I honestly don't have one. I think I go through phases. and they become my favorite at that time, and then I move on to the next. So I don't have one favorite that I have to say, I do love Shallow. I have sung that recently. I do love that. That's one I haven't gotten sick of singing yet.
So on to my very next question for you. So if you could work with any top three music artists in the music industry, who would they be and why?
Oh, I've just had this fascination with Matt Corby for years. Like, I remember just coming across him on, I think it was YouTube, probably a couple of years after he was on the, I think it was The Voice or Australian Idol, one of those shows. I think it was Australian Idol. And I was just so mesmerized. I'd sit there for like, I felt like hours just watching one YouTube video after the other. And it was just, he just takes you to this place where you're just drawn into this like other world when you're listening to his music. It's the production of his songs, and I love how he just goes from, you know, he's quite eclectic, even though he's got his own sound. So he'll go from like a song that's like, you know, ethereal with all this like a symphony of strings, and then all the other ones like this gritty, you know, soul blues song, which, you know, that's going to be my next track. That's going to be like a gritty funk kind of song. So I just love how he's just varied in his genre, yet he's got his own style and his voice. I love the sound of his voice as well. He's someone I would love to songwrite with.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Also, Patty Griffin.
Okay.
I do love a good folk singer. And I think I actually saw her live when she came to Australia, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I went by myself because no one was like, who the hell is Patty Griffin?
Yeah.
She's amazing. Anyway, I'm like, bugger it, I'm going myself. And yeah, and it was just her and her guitar, but it was amazing. Like that she could be so captivating with just her voice, her melody, her storytelling, in its simplicity. It's just, yeah, very captivating. And also, I really love Sharon Jones and the Dat Kings for different reasons. One of them is I love the backstory of Sharon Jones. I don't know if you know, but she was a corporate wedding singer for years. And it wasn't until much later in life, could be in her 40s, that she started writing and playing her own songs to get away from that. And that sort of blew out. And I really love that because it's like, it gives you hope that it's like, it's not impossible. Obviously she worked her butt off, but it's, yeah, and I love her music, the grit in her voice, in the delivery, in her raw, like straight up lyrics as well. Like I love that.
So on to my very next question for you. So if you could go to any country, like on tour as an artist, what country would you want to go to and why?
Oh gosh. Look, I have to say Europe.
Okay.
You know, just to be the beach, Greece. Look, I have to say purely just for being selfish for those reasons, but I think really, look, the States, I kind of feel like my music is more geared and suited to the States.
Okay.
If I had to go, yeah, somewhere, that would probably be there. Yeah.
So on to my very next question. So if you could talk to your younger self, looking back over your time in the music industry career, if you could talk to your younger self, what advice would you give to your younger self? And if you could go to any decade in time and space, what decade would you want to go to and why?
My younger self, just like believe that you can, that you are capable. Believe that you are worthy. and don't feel like you don't have enough time, you know, to do anything. Don't put a time limit. And decades, oh, I have to say the 70s. I just love that era. I loved growing up. I just loved everything about that era, the music, the clothes, that hippie era. Yeah, that free kind of spirited sort of time. Yeah, of the 70s. Yeah.
Good old 70 vibes. So on to my very next question for you. So what advice would you give to upcoming artists that want to start out in the music industry? And yeah,
Oh, upcoming artists, probably don't compare yourself with other people. It's so easy to do, and I've had to snap myself out of it many times in the past. Now I just stay in my lane, and I think that's probably something to pay forward to others. You know, just do your thing, work hard, yeah, and don't compare yourself to others.
so on to my very next question. So what are like the positive and negative side into the music industry? And how do you get through those like negative moments as an artist?
Oh, it's the trying to get exposure, I mean, with this release, it was so much work campaigning for this song, you know, sending out hundreds of emails to, you know, community radio, to press, and, you know, and out of those emails, just getting, you know, a few responses, you know, trying to getting onto playlists. It's just the amount of time spent is insane, which I have to say is probably like it's just part of it, especially as an independent artist to promote yourself. But I love that being independent artists, you do have the ability to steer in whichever direction you want, and not having someone else dictate what you should be doing, what you should be releasing, and how you should be, you know, showing yourself up as, instead of just, you know, being you.
So on to my very last question. So like what's next for you for the rest of 2024? Like any upcoming music that you'd like to announce or gigs?
Yeah. I'm just starting the process on recording my third single. Um, Different producer, but again, he's also based in London too. I just met with him last night, so I'm pretty excited to get going with that project. It's going to be a complete different curveball in terms of genre. I'm going for that Sharon Jones and Medat King kind of funk soul feel. Um, Hopefully adding in some brass or horns in it as well, which will be exciting. And following that, I really would love to do like a single launch for this next release. So stay tuned. Playing some of my previous release stuff and some new stuff that I'd like to release in the future. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time, Alicia, for appearing on my show. Would definitely love to have you again, on the show again another time, if you would love to perform on the show another time. But yeah, everyone, if you're not following Alicia, definitely get behind more inspiring artists like Alicia. We need more empowering music. And yeah, any last final thoughts that you'd like to share to people on the show?
Um, Thank you for watching.